Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Adventure SG. Today we are going to solve the question which is on your screen. I have already made a video on this kind of question, but the reason I have chosen this question is because this is a very general question you will see now and then in your test papers. I'm going to make another one. I'm going to solve another one so that you guys feel comfortable about doing it. So let's start with reading the question first. Ria had a total of 576 red, blue, and yellow buttons. 3 by 4 of the buttons were red and blue. 2 by 3 of the buttons were blue and yellow buttons. So, part A of the question is what fraction of the buttons were red? And part B is find the difference between the number of blue buttons and the number of yellow buttons. So what we have here is that there is a girl Ria and she has 3 color of buttons. So what are the colors? Red, blue and yellow. Okay, then 3 by 4 of the buttons were red and blue. Okay, so red and blue. So let's start writing what we have, right? So red and blue together makes 2 by 3 of the total number of buttons. So let's write it. So red plus blue is 3 by 4, right? 3 by 4 of the total number of buttons. So how do we draw it in our model? Let's quickly draw it. So that let's draw a bar to represent the total number of buttons Ria is having. Okay, so let's say it's this much long roughly. Okay, so in how many parts we should divide it? We should divide it into 4 equal parts, right? So let's do that. So it's 1, 2, 3 and 4. So right, so yeah, so they are not they don't look not that much equal, but let's assume they are all equal. Okay, so out of these 4, right, out of these 4 parts, 3 by 4 are red and blue, right? So this whole thing represents a total number of buttons. So out of this, 3 out of 4 is red and blue. So let's show it here. So this is my red plus blue. So obviously R is for red and B is for blue. So now what do you think that what is this the last unit for? What does this last unit represent? See, there are only 3 colors, red, blue and yellow. So obviously the last one should be yellow buttons, right? The last 1 by 4th unit, right? The 4th unit or the the last one is yellow. So let's say it is yellow. Let's represent this by Y here, right? Now let's move on to the other part of the question, which says 2 by 3 of the buttons were blue and yellow buttons. Okay, so 2 by 3 of the total number of buttons are blue and yellow. So let's write it. So it's yellow plus blue, right? Yellow plus blue is 2 by 3. Okay, that means here the total number of buttons we are dividing into 3 equal parts, and out of these 3 parts, 2 parts are yellow plus blue, right? So let's draw again the model, another model for this, right? Because in the previous one we can't show, right? Because here the total number of the total parts they are dividing the total number of buttons is 3, right? So let's divide this one. So since it's already divided here in 4 parts, we can't divide it again into 3. So that's why we have to draw it separately. So let's divide it here into 3 equal parts, right? So let's say these are my 3 equal parts. So out of this 2 by 3, that means 2 out of 3 is yellow plus blue, right? So I can show it like this, right? This is 2 units, right, which is equal to yellow plus blue, right? So what do you think? What is this third unit for? It should be, see, yellow and blue is here. So the third unit, the third color which is left is red one, right? So that means this last unit represents the red buttons, right? So let's show it here. So these are my red buttons, right? Now if you look at the model, right, one is divided into this both represent, these both model represents the same number of buttons, but then they are divided unequally, right? This one is divided into 4 parts and this one is divided into 3 parts. So from this we can't derive much information, right? So if we want to use it, we have to divide both the models in equal number of units, right? So how can we do that, right? So see here, it's 4. We have to make, here it is divided into 4 parts and here it is into 3 parts. So how can we divide it equally? So for that we have to find the least common multiple of 3 and 4, right? So I hope you have learned this in primary 4. So you must be knowing how to find the least common multiple of 3 and 4, right? So let's calculate it. So I am expecting the answer. Okay, keep it ready. So it's 4 and 3, or 3 and 4 is 12, right? So the least common multiple of 4 and 3 is 12, right? Now that means we have to divide both of these models into 12 equal parts. We have to divide both these models into 12 equal parts. So how can we divide this into 12 equal parts, right? Right now it is in 4 parts. So 4 parts, with what number we multiply 4 so that we get 12 here? Obviously it's 3, right? And same thing here, with what number, right? Since it's divided into 3 equal parts, right? So what number we multiply with 3 so that we get 12 here? So obviously it's same, right? 4, right? So it will give you 12. Now let's do that. Let's divide this one into 12 equal parts. So how we can do that? Divide each one of them further, into 3 equal parts. So let's do that. 3, 3, 3, and then 3. And the same thing, but here each one we have to divide into 4 parts, right? So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, right? So again, both are now 12 units. So basically from here to here, right, they're same, right? They are both 12 units. Okay, both are 12 units. Now look at the model carefully, right? See here, see in the end, right, the 3 units, right, 3 units here are just yellow, right? 3 units here are just yellow. So let me highlight here. So these last 3 units are just yellow. Okay, similarly in the second one, right, the last 4 units are just red, right? So all this is red, right? So 3 units here, 3 units is yellow and 4 unit is red, right? So let's write the information. Okay, let's write it. So let's erase this part, make some space for writing. So from the model you can see that yellow is 3 units, right? And how about the red one? The red buttons are 4 units, right? So since now we separately know how many units of yellow buttons are there and how many units of red buttons are there, we can find out how many blue buttons are there, right? Because what we just need to do is just add the total number of, find the total number of yellow and red buttons, right? And then subtract it from the total number of buttons, right? So let's find out how much will be yellow plus red together. So yellow plus red will be how much? 3 unit plus 4 unit will give you 7 unit, right? So red and yellow together is 7 unit, right? So from this we can calculate how much will be blue buttons, right? How much will be blue buttons? So we can write it here, like, so the blue buttons will be 12 unit minus 7 unit, right? Because 7 unit is a total of red and yellow. So if we subtract it from the total number of units, we will get the number of blue buttons, right? So this is 12 minus 7 is 5 unit, right? So now let's read part A of the question, which is asking what fraction of the buttons were red. Okay, so they are interested in red. What fraction of the buttons means what fraction of the total number of buttons is red. So let's do part A here. So the total number of, the unit of red buttons is how much? 4 unit, right? So it should go in the numerator. And then what is the total number of units? It's 12. That should go in denominator. But we must simplify it, right? Remember to simplify it. That should be equal to 1 by 3, right? It should be equal to 1 by 3. So I hope you know that if you just divide both numerator and denominator by 4, you will get 1 by 3, right? So you just divide both numerator and denominator by 4. So the fraction of buttons which are red is 1 by 3. Right. Now let's move on to the next part, which is asking find the difference between the number of blue buttons and the number of yellow buttons. So in order to find what is the difference between the number of blue button and yellow buttons, first we have to find how many yellow buttons are there, how many blue buttons are there, right? Then only we can find the difference. And for that we need to know how much is 1 unit. We know that yellow buttons is 3 unit and blue buttons is 5 unit, but we don't know how much is 1 unit, right? So if we have to find that, right, we have one clue here in the question. See, Ria had a total of 576 red, blue and yellow buttons. That means we know the total number of buttons, and we also know that the total number of units of button is 12 unit, right? So from here we can say that the 12 unit, right, which represents the total number of buttons, should be equal to 576. So 1 unit will be equal to 576 divided by 12. Okay, that will give you a 48. Okay, so now we know that 1 unit is 48, right? Now we have to find the difference between the blue buttons and yellow buttons. So there are 2 ways. Okay, so the first method is you find out what is the actual number of blue buttons and what is the actual number of yellow buttons, and then you find the difference. So let's do this one first. So what do you think, how many blue buttons are there? See, blue buttons are 5 unit, right? So the blue ones will be 5 unit, which will be 5 times 48. That will give you 240. And how about the yellow buttons? They are 3 unit. So yellow ones will be 3 unit, which is 3 times 48. That will give you 144, right? And finding difference is easy, right? So the difference of these two, right? So the difference between the blue and yellow, so it should be blue are more, right? So blue minus yellow will be 240 minus 144, right? That will give me 96. Okay, so the difference between the number of blue buttons and yellow buttons is 96. So that is one way, that is one method. Okay, another easier method is, right, just look at the number of units of yellow and the blue, right? So the blue buttons, right, so blue one is 5 unit and yellow one is 3 unit. So what do you think, what's the difference between the two? What is the difference in terms of unit? Okay, what is the difference in terms of unit between the blue buttons and the yellow buttons? It's simple, right? It is 5 unit minus 3 unit, right? 5 unit minus 3 unit, that is 2 unit, right? And since we know how much is 1 unit, we can easily find how much will be 2 unit. So 2 unit will be 2 times 48. That will also give you 96. Okay, so it's up to you. You want to use this method, right? This is, let's say this is first method and this one is second method, right? So which way you want to find the difference between the number of blue buttons and yellow buttons is completely up to you. Both will give you the same answer. Okay. So yeah, so that's all. So let's write our answer quickly. So our part A is the fraction of buttons that are red is 1 by 3, and the difference in the number of blue button and yellow button is 96. So it's 96 buttons. Okay, so I hope you like the solution. Keep watching and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.